This year will see the commercial release of Oculus, and whatever the handheld iteration of the NX may be. And with the releases of Mario & Luigi Paper Jam, Oxenfree, The Banner Saga, and That Dragon Cancer, as well as high-quality ports of Dragon's Dogma and Gone Home, 2016 is shaping up to be a great year for gamers, and the game industry as a whole. There are many anticipated games this year, many that are all but guaranteed to be phenomenal, but there are some that I'm worried about. The games listed here have the potential to go either way, so no obvious wins like Uncharted 4, and no obvious fails like Metroid Football Simulator over here will be on the list. The success or failure of many of the games on this list could decide the future of their franchises and or developers, so take that into consideration when thinking of what is eligible for this list. Without further ado, let's get nerdy. We're kicking this one off with a game that I was going to place much higher, until I saw the beauty of the game that is Overwatch. Gearbox Software seems to have put tons of time and marketing money into this game, and it definitely shows. Each character that they revealed has a unique personality, and the game is just dripping with 90s style attitude. So far, however, it seems that every character is meant to be a boss, and the gameplay that's been revealed recently looks as though Gearbox is trying to ram coolness down our throats like console wars franchise mascots. This entry boils down to this: if Battleborn is as good as promised, then that's great. If it's not, then the franchise will probably be dead on arrival in a world where Activision Blizzard once again knocks our socks off. Believe me when I say that I want to do barrel rolls as much as the next guy, but I know that many Star Fox 64 fans were less than impressed with Star Fox Zero's E3 showing last year. Now, Nintendo has recently released footage boasting updated visuals from what we were initially shown, and that's great. But that does not sate the feeling of wariness felt when confronted with this game. To many, the first two Star Fox games crafted a legacy, and Fox McCloud and Falco Lombardi are cemented in the annals of video game history thanks to their performance outside of their R-Wings in Smash Bros. The problem is the weight that this game holds on its shoulders. Since 1997, the best game in the franchise has been a remake of the game that was made that year. The crew of the Great Fox could possibly see their franchise go the way of Gex the Gecko if Zero turns out to be a dud. No Man's Sky promises us limitless exploration, but does that equate to limitless potential? Like most games on this list, this one looks great and seems like it could be an instant classic. But what can we really do in that endless expanse of space? I know that the game is meant to have a go anywhere, do anything type of gameplay. The question is, will there indeed be enough to do? I have no problem with being a space cowboy or Samus Aran wannabe. It's actually a fantasy of mine. I just hope that No Man's Sky can deliver endless fun, wonder, and excitement with its flight, combat, and procedurally generated worlds. I'm not sorry to say that Elite Dangerous left me wanting more, and let's hope that this game is definitely bringing them more. I wanted to put 7 on this list, but we have no confirmation that it'll arrive this year. We do have confirmation, however, that Final Fantasy XV will finally be making an appearance. With the recent name change from Final Fantasy Versus 13, much more in-engine footage revealed, and the near-perfect Operation Duscae giving us that beautiful, gorgeous, jaw-dropping Rama summon, as well as a look at the fluid and engaging combat. There's plenty to be excited about. I want to get my hands on this game like yesterday. The fear lies in this game's history, and its importance to the future relevancy of the main series franchise. Following the subpar trilogy of Final Hallway 13, Final Time Paradox 13-2, and Final Fantasy Majora's Mask Lightning Returns, as well as the amazing, but stained by its initial release Final Fantasy XIV, which excludes many potential players with a subscription fee, things aren't looking bright going forward. This game needs to be awesome so that the storied franchise doesn't become all about its, admittedly amazing, spin-off titles. Plus, don't be scared, but here are two of the last titles that spent a decade in development, and we all know how that went. There is no doubt that Remedy Entertainment is great at what they do, even if what they do usually takes them many, many years. Their latest masterpiece in the making is Quantum Break. This is a game that looks amazing and handles time manipulation in an interesting way. Sure, we've seen very similar abilities in Time Shift, Prince of Persia, and the astoundingly underrated Singularity, but the visual effects in play and apparent smoothness of the gameplay make the game's main character, Jack Joyce, seem like an honest to Arceus Time Lord. Really though, he seems almost too powerful, as if the game will lack much challenge due to his OP-ness, and we all know that Iceman is OP. I want this game to work so much, and the developer has a successful track record. This game is being released with a mini-series that may or may not work in its favor. Really, only time can tell. Back at E3 2009, Team Ico, the studio responsible for the critically acclaimed and universally loved titles Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, unveiled its newest project, The Last Guardian. The story of a boy and his dog, bird-cat hybrid, was greatly anticipated and left fans of the studio's earlier titles breathless. The next few years, however, we'd heard and seen very little of the title. For years, we were treated to silence. There were even rumors that the title had been silently cancelled. Fast forward over half a decade and we now have confirmation that the PS3 focused title will be coming to PS4 this year. One can certainly hope that Team Ico can go 3 for 3, but with such a long development cycle and a jump in console generations without much obvious visual improvement, have moved this game into very troubled waters. All the years that the team has spent on this game could end up being for naught, if the title isn't absolutely amazing. It's no secret that my favorite game of 2015 was Destiny: The Taken King. The vastly different character builds, endless progressive loot system, strikes and raids, and near-perfect PvP, think Halo with superpowers, saw me spending literally hundreds of hours combating the darkness in the name of the Traveler, Lord Shaxx, and RN Jesus. So it's no surprise that the hype for the Division is as real as can be. This game seems to run very similar to Destiny, online-only co-op RPG shooter with a specially designed area for dedicated PvP, which totally makes me happy. Because of these similarities, however, and the propensity for many third-person shooters to feel fairly samey, there is space to worry. Also, let's not forget that the game that we're comparing this to was considered near worthless and devoid of endgame content back when it initially launched in its vanilla state. I'm hoping that it's all it's supposed to be, but hope can only take a new IP with novel ideas so far. I have a lot of faith in this next entry. See what I did there? Okay, I'm sorry. Mirror's Edge gave us a well thought out and superbly capable female protagonist, and the realization of the plausibility of a first-person platformer. Faith is phenomenal. DICE gave us a beautiful, female, Asian character without having to make her character about any of those things. None of it is shoved down our throats. She isn't hypersexualized or steeped in Asian tradition, and that is the most refreshing thing about her character. Kinda how I feel about Half-Life 2's Alex Vance. Half-Life 3 confirmed! No, but seriously. It appears that EA is keeping her character largely the same, even though Mirror's Edge Catalyst has been branded as a soft reboot. The transition to an open world with the availability of quests to fulfill could be amazing, but it also has the potential to be somewhat boring if the gameplay is repetitive and the open world design gives us less focus. I mean, when you think about it, the entire job of the protagonist in the first game was to deliver mail. Dying Light showed us that parkour and first person still work and give us a truly amazing experience, which is why Mirror's Edge really has to deliver. Oh, I'm sorry, that was another male joke.
but inside my head, so loud and clear.
As seems to be the trend with this list, The Legend of Zelda, as it has so far been billed, has suffered delays and the tiniest trickle of information, basically like Chinese water torture amounts of information being divulged. Producer Eiji Onuma has gone on record saying that he has the development team rethinking the conventions of Zelda with this game. But is that something that's going to be good or bad? For those that think that Zelda can do no wrong, one just has to look at Spirit Tracks, Triforce Heroes, or to a much lesser extent, Skyward Sword. The delay also puts the game ever closer to the potential release of Nintendo's next console, codename NX. Suffice it to say that the game is looking set to send off a dying console, which could hurt sales, as not many people have actually made the Wii U purchase after all these years, unless they're fans of Smash, of course. The series has sold 67 million copies, and is celebrating its 30th anniversary next year, so this open-world reimagining of the series needs to be as perfect as Aonuma has stated it will be, else countless Zelda fans will be out for blood. Okay, well, we're fans of a Nintendo game, so we might not be out for blood, but we'll definitely be mad about spending our rupees. As a reminder, the games on this list have the potential to be very good, very bad, or moderately mediocre and disappointing, which is why we haven't seen games that are universally considered a sure thing, like Persona 5 or Fire Emblem Fates. Each game on this list also has the potential to seriously affect its development studio, and or its franchise if it turns out to be a dud. After these honorable mentions, we'll look at the #1 game in 2016 that better not suck. EA seems to be the home of disappointment these days. From below-average sequels like Battlefield Hardline and SimCity, massive blights to established franchises like Dungeon Keeper Mobile and Star Wars Battlefront's EA. Yes, I'm calling it EA. Look at the case of the game. It's ridiculous. They included it in the title of the game. The title of 2012's worst company in America. We're definitely right to worry. Many development studios with games published by EA have claimed that the publisher pushes developers to make changes that serve to push EA's bottom line. But enough ranting about, well, the Mass Effect trilogy is considered by many to be one of the greatest franchises of all time, with many books, comics, and animated movies further fleshing out the expansive universe. Mass Effect Andromeda is poised to either further that legacy or ruin it later this year. I am begging Arceus for the former. We haven't heard anything really regarding the game, aside from a very detail-free reveal trailer. Though the game's title very strongly suggests that the events of the game will not be taking place in the Milky Way galaxy, so we can expect new races, new politics, and tons of new worlds to explore. The game is slated for a broad Q4 release so far, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a release on or the week of November 7th, known as Mass Effect Day to fans. Let's hope that BioWare is ready to give us the open universe game to rule them all this holiday season. Hey guys, the Early Gamer here. I want to thank you for watching. Go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know what games you're anticipating that better not suck this year. Please like and share. I truly appreciate it and it really helps. And be sure to subscribe for more top 10s in the future. If you like Nintendo, don't forget to check out my top 10 3DS games of all time by clicking the video or the link in the description below. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter at The Early Gamer, and as always, stay nerdy.